happened to your business idea you've been dreaming about? Build Institute offers business and project planning classes for aspiring and established entrepreneurs. We'll help you launch and test your concept, provide access to capital funding, and provide one-on-one coaching and mentoring. So don't just dream about starting your business, build it with Build Institute. Classes begin February 1st. To register and for more information, visit us at www.buildinstitute.org.
All right, I'd like to welcome you to this edition of In the Conference Room with Mark S. Lee. And as we do each and every single week, I can take this opportunity to thank you all for tuning in and for your ongoing support. This is awesome. And before I continue, I have to say this. Go Lions. You know it. We're all proud of the Detroit Lions. First time in years. And it's just awesome to see the city rally behind the football team, Detroit Lions. And I'm so honored to have with me in the conference room, First Lady is Robin Kinloch, and she's a native Detroiter, and she began her professional career in the corporate world with Daimler Chrysler a few years ago, and later GMAC, amongst other organizations. And then she transferred over into the ministry as well. So we're going to spend some time today talking about a very, very important issue. January is cervical Cancer Awareness Month. And First Lady Kinloch, I want to thank you for joining me in the conference room. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Go Lions. I'm pulling out all my black and blue all week, all this season. So go Lions. We're super excited about what they're bringing to the city.
And we know that you're involved, by the way, with Triumph, obviously with your husband. Talk about the excitement, even of those attending church these days about the Lions support and saying prayers for the Lions these days.
Saying prayers for the Lions. We have members that work for the Detroit Lions. Our chief of security, Darren Johnson, he's a member of our church. Lions are everywhere. They're wearing the big gear to service. So not always the formal church attire that we're accustomed to, laid back, go Lions for support. And of course, rendering up those prayers for our city as always, but our Lions in this season.
And of course, you all know the Reverend Solomon W. Kinloch Jr. and the Triumph Church and the campuses they have throughout Detroit and beyond. All right, let's jump right into the conversation. A very important conversation here. Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. And they kind of give us an overview of this month. What are we trying to achieve during the month of January for Cervical Cancer Awareness Month?
Yeah, so the state has asked me to partner with them just to bring awareness to cervical cancer. And during this month, bringing a highlight to Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. When they asked me to get on board, I didn't even know January Cervical Cancer Awareness Month, but what a great time to start off the year. I feel like in January, we're all starting with, our resolutions. We're, being more in sync with our mind, our body, and our spirit, being good stewards over our body. And so this is one of those areas that we don't hear a lot about. It affects Black women at a higher rate, and also younger women. That's one of the things that I was shocked to hear as I was just learning more about the numbers, particularly here in the United States, and then the programming that's available, the free programming that's available for people to take advantage of as they begin to have knowledge. Because cervical cancer is one of those cancers where there are no symptoms. And so screening is imperative. And that is just one of the things that the state really wants to get ahead of, again, because Black women are dying at such a higher rate than other nationalities. So,
yeah, when we talk about the average number of new cases we see in Michigan, what is the average number that we see on an average year typically?
Over 300 new cases. So it doesn't seem like a lot overall, but it's a lot if it hits your back door. If it's knocking at your door, it's something that you and your family are having to deal with. That number becomes really large, all of a sudden. And again, cervical cancer is one of those cancers studies show that is avoidable, and it's avoidable with screening. And so What does screening look like? Let's take advantage of it. And why are Black women, so reluctant to be screened, to get ahead of this? And this gives me an opportunity to certainly bring to light the information that we have, the free information that we have available for people to take advantage of.
And you talk about, it's almost like the silent, it's the symptoms of silence, right? Essentially. So who are those at risk? What are some of the risk factors? And if it's silent, I'm not necessarily coughing. I don't know what I'm doing. Who are those? What does that person look like? Who's most likely at risk for this particular cancer?
So, women with the cervix, and I say women with the cervix because
Okay.
there are procedures where the cervix is removed. But if you have a cervix, you're certainly at risk. The anyone that has HIV or the virus that causes AIDS or a weakened immune system is also at risk. But the anyone with the HPV infection is at
Mhm.
risk. And not that you know a lot about, the female genitals, but years ago, when I was much younger, there wasn't a vaccine. And if there was a vaccine, I certainly in my family, we were not aware of it, to prevent cervical cancer. And so now you have a large population of women who were not vaccinated because vaccination wasn't available. And now we're seeing the residuals of not being able to have that vaccination. And so again, because there are no symptoms, screening appears to be at this point in time our point of defense. That is the way that we can find out if it's something that we have, and we can take advantage of the resources that are out there. And like many cancers, early detection sometimes makes the difference between life and death.
You make an interesting comment, First Lady. She is joining us. We're talking to First Lady Robin Kinloch, and we're talking about a very important issue here: cervical cancer. This is Cancer Awareness Month. You know, from a male perspective, obviously I can't speak on behalf of females and ladies, but I think from our perspective as a man, you know, people always say you need to do X, Y, and Z. I don't want to hear that, right? I don't want to. I'm fine. I feel great. There's almost a level of I don't need to go get myself checked out, for whatever the case might be. And I don't know if it's a male ego thing, if it's a pride thing. From a female's perspective, why do you think that some people are feel there's no need for me to get checked out? There's no need for me to do that. Why is there such a high risk of hesitation amongst Black females or amongst ladies in general?
So I think one of the things that's unique about cervical cancer is that they're seeing diagnosis at the as early as the age of 30. And
Okay.
so I feel as though when you're 30, you're still invincible. You're still trying to figure it out in some instances. Money may be tight, and so you may not have insurance. In some instances to take advantage of it. The range is so large. It's between the ages of 30 and 64. So that's such a broad range. So there could be a number of things that stand in your way. But definitely that early diagnosis of as early as the age of 30, I think plays a role in, if I don't think about it, it's not there. Sometimes co-pays can be a deterrent for people. If I'm trying to pay my bills, even if I have insurance, maybe I don't have the resources to dedicate towards a co-pay. Um, but I think the other thing is, I think that sometimes, even when resources are available and awareness is out there, I think that sometimes because the Black community in general, when we're taking advantage of those free resources, sometimes we're not treated with compassion, with
Yeah.
dignity, respect. We're not given care with love. And I think that that's a deterrent because we're put in a position where why would I take advantage of that? I don't have any symptoms. Why am I going in, putting myself in that space to be, demoralized in some instances in these environments that should be a safe space. The other thing is that you don't know is that screening isn't the most comfortable thing. It's embarrassing. You're very vulnerable. And I think that there's some anxiety that lie within just having your regular screening, even if you have, good insurance, as my grandfather used to brag about. If I got that good Blue Cross Blue Shield, He's like, we got the Blue Cross Blue Shield. So even when you have insurance, I think that sometimes we're apprehensive on taking advantage because it's a silent, silent killer in some
Yeah.
instances. So there are no symptoms. There's no reason for me to stop and
And
do
I may feel
advantage of that.
great. And so since I feel great, I don't feel a need to take it to the next level.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Is this you talk about insurance? Generally, for example, colonoscopies are covered by insurance, the preventive, the screenings, and things like this. Is this procedure, this screening, covered by insurance, or I heard you say copay? Is it 100% covered, or is there partial? Kind of talk to us about that if you could.
Well, let's get into what the state is offering. When we have our individual plans, of course, that's going to be, tailored toward what our selections are. And sometimes that gives us the information as relates to copays and next step. But the state is offering these two programs. So if you have something to write with, you certainly want to take advantage of it. The one program is the BC3NP, which is a mouthful, right? But it's the Breast and Cervical Cancer Control Navigation Program. And this program covers the cost for follow-up medical care for low-income women ages 21 to 64, whether they have insurance or not. So even if you have insurance, to your point, but maybe the co-pays are just not something that you're willing to, or even have the ability to pay at this particular point in your life, this program offers some guidance and some help in that space. And while this program does not pay for cancer treatment itself, um, women who are diagnosed with breast or cervical cancer, they may be eligible for special Medicare programs. And so sometimes one of the deterrents is just navigating through the system. You can
Yeah,
say, hey, I have these free resources. And the church has the ability in a lot of instances to partner with a number of organizations for a lot of things. And one of the things Pastor Kinloch and I always say, you have a great program. Why are people not taking advantage of it? Because sometimes there's so much red tape and it's so
yes.
frustrating that it deters people, right? And so this program is to help navigate through the system. The other program that they have available is called the Wise Woman Program, and it's available in selected areas of in our state. And it helps you understand the chronic disease risk factors. And before I dive into this a lot, what I want to make sure is that people have the number and they have the website and they have the information to at least find out, at least take that first step to see if it's something that you're going to be able to take advantage of. And so that number that we want to share with your listeners is 844-446-8727. And I'm going to repeat that. It's 844-446-8727. And then we also encourage people to take advantage of the information on the state's website, which is
Mhm.
michigan.gov/cancer. And that, once again, that's michigan.gov/cancer. The other thing, I think that even if I'm in a situation where I have insurance, copay isn't an issue. I'm doing my annual pap smear. Use your influence to share the information with someone who does not fall into that category, right? So we
Mhm.
all have people, whether it's in our family, whether it's in our church, whether it's in our different clubs, our schools, use that influence to say, sometimes we'll say, girl, such and such is having a sale. Well, girl, this is Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. And
Mhm.
if you haven't been checked, take advantage of the free resources, at least call the number to see what's available to help you navigate through the system. It's
You know,
free.
I'm a couple of things I'm hearing here. This I love, First Lady, what you just said. That last word, free. The most powerful word, as you all know, I'm also a college professor, instructor, I do public speaking as well. I do a bunch of things. But I always tell people from a marketing perspective, the most powerful word in marketing is something called free. And a lot of times when you get an opportunity to buy something, people say, how much is it? How much is it? And then based on the price, either we purchase it or we back away from it. Something as important as this. You have the resources out there and it's free. Why not take advantage of it? The second thing I hear you saying, First Lady, is also there are resources to help you navigate through these challenges. A lot of times when we think of programs being offered through the city, through the state, our neighborhood, our church, or whatever the case might be, we get intimidated. But yet I'm hearing you say that there are resources out there to help you navigate through some of the questions and the challenges. So it being between being free and also the opportunity to navigate, to me, it makes it a very simple decision to at least consider getting this screening done.
It seems simple from where you're seated, but again, those factors that do deter people from taking advantage, those are real factors, and we don't want to dismiss those. And so,
Yes,
even me taking time out of my day, you taking time out of your segment in order to share the information, kind of just highlights the importance of taking that step, reassuring the community that you have nothing to lose by at least making the inquiry. Call the number. There are people that are there. One of the things that I said, even to the people that I'm working with at the state, make sure that when people call, that they are treated with love, that they're a priority, that we gave them the number because you have people on the other end of the call that want to help them, that want to navigate, that want to ask questions about it, or just get more information. So I'm going to share that number again, and it's 844-446-8727. And then if you just want to visit the website, the state's website is michigan.gov/cancer. Just take a look around at your leisure. But we definitely want you to take advantage of these resources. Oftentimes, resources are made available, not taken advantage of. And Mark, you can attest to this. The money goes back to the state. So
yep,
let's use this money up for what it's been designated for. Let's use it all.
absolutely.
Let's use it all up if we
Let's
can.
use it all up. But I think, and before I let you go, I know you had a couple of statistics. I think that you want to share. Yeah, because I want people one more time before we end this conversation is to talk about the importance from a statistical perspective, if you have that data, particularly as it relates to Black women compared to the general population.
Yes. So the data that I've been giving is that overall, Black women are just not getting screened. Again, we talked about some of the reasons that could be preventing them from being screened. But for whatever the reason is, we need to get those screening numbers up because cervical cancer is one of those cancers that is avoidable. The other thing that show is that African American women are at a much greater risk of dying from cervical cancer than women of other ethnicities, right? And so we saw this in COVID. COVID kind of shed that light on the disparities in healthcare that some Black people already knew about. And so we had those sayings that if, the country catches a cold, Black people catch the flu, right? And so
Yes,
this is another one of those areas. We see it in breast cancer. We see it in cervical cancer. And so Black women we're the backbone of the community. We have to be more vigilant in making sure that we take whatever steps necessary to take care of ourselves, our minds, our bodies, our spirits. Excuse me. January is a great month in order to bring this awareness. I really believe that, in my opinion. We're typically eating healthier. We set the tone for our families in a lot of instances. We're exercising more. And so add this to your checklist of things to do. Make those doctor's appointments, make your eye doctor's appointment, make your appointment with your primary care physician if you haven't already done so for the year. Families are devastated with the loss and the sickness of a parent, particularly a mom. In ministry, unfortunately, we often get a front row seat at the devastation of a gut-wrenching diagnosis. We're praying for them. We're encouraging them in this space. And, sometimes people have said to me in different instances, I wish I would have. Don't
yeah,
let this be a wish I would have moment. Take advantage of this free resource. Screening can sometimes be the difference between life or death. And even if you don't do it for yourself, do it for your family, do it for your community. We need you.
absolutely. I couldn't say it better myself. And as we wrap up, anything that you'd like to say on behalf of Triumphant Church in terms of whatever you want to share with the community at large as we're in a new year, moving forward from your perspective.
please come and visit Triumph Church. I know I'm biased. I think it's the best church this side of heaven, has the best pastor, has the best members, hands down. But we invite you to get connected. Again, it's January. Get connected spiritually. Set goals for you, for your families. We have a lot of exciting things going on at Triumph Church all the time. Please, our website is triumphch.org. You can call our church office for more opportunities. And we have services. We have 14 services in a week. We have 9 campuses in the metropolitan Detroit area and 2 campuses in the Flint area. I have a church in Flint and a church in Burton. So we are literally in church all the time, but we're here to meet the needs of the community. It's a community church. It's a great group of people. I'm not just saying that because I'm a part of it. If I'm at the airport, people will come and say, I came to your church, I visit your church, and the people at your church are the nicest people on the planet. And so to God be the glory. But thank you for having me today. Thank you for allowing me to share this information with your listeners. And go Lions. Go Lions.
And go Lions. And by the way, let the church say
Amen.
First Lady Robin Kinloch, I want to thank you very much for your time. And we wish you all a wonderful day, a great week, a great month. We will check you out next time in the conference room with Mark S. Lee. And as she said, this time, as I always say in closing, I'm going to say it slightly different this time. This time in closing, go Lions.
Go Lions.
If you're looking for the perfect diamond, gemstone, silver, or gold jewelry, Costa Doro Fine Jewelry in downtown Detroit has it all. A full-service jeweler for over 30 years. Inside the Millender Center, specializing in restyling jewelry and all watch repairs by a master goldsmith and certified gemologist. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, or by appointment. Costa Doro Jewelry, 313-965-4139.